phone camera. Chapter 3. Why even talk about it now she is gone? Where to start picking up the pieces? Which way to turn and say, this is where things started to get out of hand? I guess as good a time as any is back when I was little and the two of us still lived in San Francisco, and Mum decided to become an artist. She had never trained to be a photographer, nor was she about to train now. One day she must simply have decided that this is what she wanted to be, and so she picked up a used camera with the idea of never putting it down again. Perhaps it was because she was so unsure of her talent that she told no one about this, not even me. Perhaps she felt she was doing something she was not supposed to do. It's hard to say. What she did tell me, though I have no way of telling how true this is because I have not seen the evidence, is that she saw the picture of her best friend from high school in Playboy magazine. First in the sham catalogue type thing called Book of Lingerie, and then a few months later in the real thing, centerfold and all. What with the pancake makeup, peroxide hairdo and shaved crotch, she almost did not recognize her. But it said her name right on the cover, and the asinine bio blurb more or less followed the lines of Nina's life, stated her place of origin, her turn-offs and turn-ons, told of a party-paced life that was oh so much fun. It did not say anything about what Nina had to do to get into the glosses, and of course it did not say word one about what my mom felt for this girl. Nothing about the things that stood between them. And how could it have? Worse yet, this playmate of the month of may-have-beens had no way of knowing that her best friend had named her daughter after her, and that she may not have done so had she known she would sell herself so cheaply when she, Natalie, could have taken and did take pictures of her so much closer to home. She told me, like last year when I helped her on the set and off, that seeing her friend make the cover of Playboy had made her want to try her hand at this sorry business of female nudes, to do a better job, to brew an antidote against these Barbie pictures. She told me about her first session, and though she may have glossed and dramatized a bit, I can just see her going up Columbus, stepping into the City Lights bookstore, taking Revenge of the Lawn off the shelf perhaps, a book she did buy and the book that Nick read the first time I met him in the Panhandle Park. While it may actually have been Nick's old copy that Mom owned, I like to think it was this book she got that day at City Lights. A little further toward Market on Kearney, there are several good places to get used cameras. Good places to get ripped off too. Let us just say it was the very day she bought her first camera, an old Minolta X500 and a couple of used lenses to go with it, and that she walked up Columbus towards North Beach, perhaps not even sure what she was looking for, perhaps just wanting to get a book in Fairlinghetti's bookstore on this her first day off in months and months. Let us say it was pure chance that when she looked out through the plate glass windows while paying for the book, she saw these two girls walking up the street, one of them dreamy-eyed, short and skinny figure and lanky hair, a carefree air about her, and something else that made Natalie rush out into the busy street, crossing against the traffic and getting herself honked at, just to get to the other side and catch up with this girl in denims and sluttish shoes she had never even seen before, and catch her breath and muster all her courage to stop and talk to her. When telling me this story, she had no memory of the girl's companion, who left as soon as Jessica, for that was the girl's name, had nodded and said in a voice as unsurprised as if this had been on her day's agenda all along, they could go over to a club on Broadway, the sorry replica of Just Such Streets in Amsterdam or Vegas, and do the pictures there and then. Jessica nodded when Natalie told her what little she could afford to pay, almost as if she did not care or had no reason to expect more. Mentioned the bouncer who would have to have a little something too to let them in and let them use the stage or backstage and the lights. She said the bouncer's name when they met him at the door of the place, a wired, nervous guy, hardly the type, then jumped up on the dark stage where the pole was, without waiting for instructions and without taking off even her purse, until Natalie called her down and asked her did she realize she wanted to do nudes, and could they have some stage lights or else this would not work. I can just see her flinching over the announcement they would not get to use the lights because, the bouncer said, the boss man might come back. Can just see her bowing to the facts, not saying a word, just climbing up a flight of stairs after this girl, never speaking out of turn, gauging her words carefully so as not to make them sound fussy or quarrelsome, while scheming how to get what she wanted anyway in some other way. Can just see them enter a filthy makeshift dressing room, steel lockers in the corner, a makeup mirror lined with light bulbs, a stool, and faded posters on the wall announcing gigs of long-forgotten bands and a movie remake starring Jack Nicholson as Joker. The girl would not stand still, nor would she sit. The bouncer would not leave until Natalie just about shoved him from the room. Almost realizing the pointlessness of her endeavor, but not the danger of the situation. How come she was not scared? And on the verge of giving up and simply leaving, she asked the girl, would this be a good time for her to take her clothes off? And Jessica, twitching nervously, stripped down to white high heels in seconds flat, as if she had done it many, many times before, and started gyrating before the mirror in a hula way, to music playing silently inside her head, if anywhere. It was not until the girl sat down to paint her face that Natalie saw the marks and scars and bruises on the girl's arms and realized that she was on something. She could not have been more than 25 and must have had the sassy Saxon looks of girls that Natalie had seen in London. And she did have the blonde hair for it still, though without luster, eyes without sheen, skin almost wrinkled, flaccid, as if she had lost of weight. There were some stretch marks on her tummy, cellulite on her butt and thighs, and it was exactly what Natalie wanted. She put a black and white film in the camera, wound it, and started shooting even before Jessica got up again, lest she start doing her crazy stage numbers again. She got up anyway, and started rotating her hips, doing some nimble dance steps, all of them dirty, the striptease fare fancied by the men who were not there and would not come again to see her go to hell. She sat down hard on the stool and spread her legs wide as they would go, shimmying her skinny shanks like a crayfish on its back, showing all there was to see of wilted lips and tinted cleft, breasts like dead roadside birds, tired old playthings, an angry rash from blunted blades beneath her wings and places down below. Whatever happened to this girl, she wondered, seeing the child she must have once been, baking mud pies on a beach, eating cotton candy at a country fair, twirling to a top 40 station, then moving on to cheerleading splits and taking it from there. She imagined the child's mother, perhaps with high hopes for her little girl's future, both gone to seed now. Mother like daughter, like something the cat brought in. She knew the girl had at least one friend, and she asked herself what that other girl saw in her that this husk of a body masked. She also knew she had at least one lover. You could tell not so much by the stretch marks on her belly, but by a flourish of letters tattooed in the small of her back. Alex, androgynous and loved enough to vindicate the pain. Or perhaps her stage name, or else her pimp had branded her like the livestock she was for him. Like a toy wound too tightly, The girl careened through the session at a breakneck pace, a poisoned temptress pirouetting mindlessly in grotesque courtship. High-heeled automaton, she blurred each and every picture except two, what with the dim lighting and the wide-open shutter. And these two pictures that turned out you will find in monochrome romance, smutty memorabilia of a premiere that would have stopped anyone but a maniac. Or Mom. Not that she did not see it. Had you told Natalie she would do her own book one day, she would have laughed in your face, or cried with frustration over the fact that Jessica would not listen to anything she said until Natalie told her to let her know when she thought it was a good time to quit, and Jessica stopped in mid-movement and started to put her clothes back on in the order in which she found them on the floor, muttering that it was a good time to quit. "We better quit now," she said, and said it again as the bouncer came back up the stairs right on cue, and said the same. So that was Mom's first session, and hard as it may seem to believe, she would come to remember it with nostalgia.